Hi, I'm Fred Rexroad, author of the Tanner-Dent Mysteries for kids, middle grade fiction. You might notice from what's scattered around. As everybody, I'm going crazy during this COVID lockdown, and we're quite a few months into it now. And my wife Susan has been doing, who is now my camera lady, is putting up her own cooking videos. So I thought I would follow suit and put up mine. Mine's a little bit different though. I'm not going to go through all the from scratch things that she has done. There's a little story behind this. I'm going to tie it in a couple of ways. One, to my writing of Whiz Tanner. Joey Dent, the narrator basically of all these stories, loves ham and cheese sandwiches, and so do I. And so we're going to kind of make a ham and cheese sandwich, partly in honor of him, and partly because since I retired from the Joint Staff, I'm not running around at lunchtime in the Pentagon getting good food anymore. So I have to kind of fend for myself, and I found that my local bookstore, Bard's Alley, has nice ham sandwiches for lunch. So a couple times a week I would go down to have a ham sandwich for lunch. And that is no more since the close down and all that. So I had to learn to make my own ham sandwiches again. I tried different breads, different hams, different cheeses. Their ham sandwich, Bard's Alley's ham sandwich, is using Gruyere cheese, a nice Swiss cheese, a really nice bun for the bread, some good ham. I don't know the brand they use, but we'll let that ride. And they do a little sauce on it. I don't know what their secret sauce is, so I'm just going to use some nice brown mustard on mine. They also put in some arugula, so have a little green on it. I don't have any right now. Normally I would have spinach around or something, but I don't. So we're just going to go from there. Anyway, I start off with this nice ciabatta bread. It's already made. I'm not going to go through the rigmarole that Susan would on getting the flours out and making the bread and all that. So that's already done. I still have to bake it a little bit because it's not quite ready yet. So this is actually a nice French bread, which is very good. I found it's one of the better ones I can get easily during this lockdown that tastes the way I want it to. It's kind of strange I have to go to France to get bread to make my sandwich, but that's the way it goes sometimes. What we need to do is first bake this in the oven at 400 degrees for 10 minutes. The baking isn't that critical, 8 to 12, and depends on how hungry I am, how long I go. But that's what we're going to do. So, like I said, spicy mustard, set that aside for later. The cheese, we'll set that aside for a little bit. The ham, that's going to be set aside for a while. And then we'll start with the bread. Like I said, we've got to bake this, so I've already got the oven going at 400 degrees preheated. So on to the bread. The directions say to put this in the oven for 10 minutes, 400 degrees, as I've already mentioned. But I found when it comes out, it's really nice and crispy and just the way I would like to eat it if I wasn't making a sandwich out of it. But when you go to cut it, it starts crumbling up and falling apart. So what I do is cut it first. I slice it with the nice big knife. You got to use a nice big sharp knife. It's more like manly in mystery stories and stuff. Every time you use your nice knife, you need to sharpen it. So 3 to 5 slices down the sharpener on the coarse side, and then again the same thing on the fine side. If you keep your knives sharp, that's all you got to do is a couple of shots each. Wipe it off to get any filings that may be there. Now you're ready to use your nice mysterious knife. So what I do is go ahead and slice it. As I said, this prevents the crumbling that would happen later. See, it goes nice, smooth through the bread. The bread's not quite done yet. It's still a little on the doughy side, and it's very easy to slice. Afterward, when it's a little toasty around, it's great for eating, but it's hard to cut. Another thing I do is, once this is done, I like to cut my sandwich in half so there's two halves. Again, if I wait until it's done, it is much harder to do. So what I do is just right in the center, slice a tiny bit just to get it started. That way I don't have to break through that initial crust, and makes it just so much easier. Now what we do is take either your baking sheet or piece of aluminum foil, your choice, plop it in the oven for 10 minutes, and then you're ready to do some stuff. Okay, I'm going to go put this in the oven. I'll be back here in a minute to start working on some of the other ingredients. Now, the only other ingredients we have, normally there would be some green to put on it, but I don't have any, so the ham, the cheese. Now, I've gotten this down to a science. See how nice the knife works when it's really sharp? The cheese slices I've perfected after many months of the COVID lockdown, making this sandwich. I know exactly how thick to make the slices and how many slices to put on the bread. This particular bread and this thickness of cheese will do about 7 nice slices laid along the thing. So I need to have 14 slices of cheese out of this. Now, 14 would make kind of big chunky slices the way Joey likes it. He likes a lot of cheese on his ham sandwiches, but I'm not going to do it quite like that. Typically what I do is I do 7 for each sandwich, but I only do about half of the block of cheese. So then I can do it later for another block. So that's a very efficient way of getting the proper amount of cheese for me. Okay, so we need to slice our cheese. Again, with a sharp knife, you just kind of push in. Okay, were you keeping count? Sometimes if they get a little bit small, you kind of make an extra one to make up for it. You know, this isn't as an exact science as maybe I let on. What's also nice is to make a couple of extra, so while you're making your sandwich and getting ready, you can plop it in your mouth and see what happens. So got that. The rest of the cheese, and there's a little less than half, so my second set of sandwiches may be a little shortchanged on that, but I can live with it for now. So now we have the ham ready to go, the cheese ready to go. When we're done, put the mustard on in place of that secret sauce that Barzali uses, and then we'll be ready. Right now we still have to wait a few minutes, 7 minutes to be exact, before our bread is ready. So we're going to take a break here, and we'll come back in 7 minutes. We'll come back and see you in just a few seconds, and that'll be it. As you can hear by the buzzer, the bread is ready now. Touch the aluminum foil gently out of the oven. It's not too bad. The bread's a little hot, so we got to be careful with that. Ooh, that looks good. Interesting anecdote is the ciabatta, which is actually Italian bread, even though this is made in France, was sort of the Italians' answer to the nice French baguettes. They liked that, so they went back to Italy and kind of made their own, and turned into what they call ciabatta. I like it a little better. And now this was made in France, so it kind of came full circle. Interesting. Okay, so now we have our ingredients here. The ham, the cheese, the bread, Like I said, this time, no greens. So I'm going to lay the cheese or the ham out properly as so there's a proper way of doing this. What you want to do is kind of do it evenly so that you have a similar amount of ham on all the sandwiches, and you want to kind of use up your ham. You don't want to leave that just sitting around. Somebody may eat it. Okay, so nice pile of fresh ham in there. Get this out of the way. Now we put the cheese on. Seven slices of cheese is just about perfect. Every now and then there will be a slight difference in the length of these, and just kind of make do. It's not too hard. We can do that. Throw the extra one there. Put that on. The extra one here. And this one I'll eat. Okay, now we're almost done. Like I said, I like to cut these in half. So you notice that there's this nice little groove already in the bread, so you don't have to cut through the crust that you just made. Oh, hear that? The sound of nice fresh bread out of the oven. Just about perfect. There's a nice little stopping point here where I wanted to mention my shirt, Village Magic. In my second Whiz Tanner book, the kids buy magic equipment at a place called Village Magic in the village, the little town next to Jasper Springs where they live. Village Magic was actually my magic store back in my little village of Yellow Springs, Ohio. Alas, it is no more, but I still had the t-shirt. And I get to write the stuff into my stories. What I do now typically is I've got a couple of days worth of ham sandwiches for lunch. What I do is put the mustard on it just before I eat it. And the ones that I put in the refrigerator for tomorrow, if it lasts that long, I won't put the sauce, mustard, whatever I try. Hummus is very good. I won't put that on until the day I make it, and then I'll heat these up a little bit. So the little sauce. Now, typically at home in the evening, a nice, ham sandwich made of a nice Italian ciabatta bread would go great with, say, a glass of wine. I prefer red. Cabernet Sauvignon is my favorite. But lunchtime, I typically don't go for the wine yet, so I go for coffee. At Bard's Alley, they happen to serve coffee from product plug from my local coffee brewer, Caffe Amouri. Great coffee. There's one other thing. Don't need the knife anymore, so we'll put that away. Like I said, I would get this a couple of times a week at Bard's Alley. Since the shutdown, there are other ways of buying books from locals. You don't have to go to the big bad online retailer. So I online asked for the book I wanted, and there's a little part there that on their website that says, and what else can we get for you? And of course I said, well, I want a ham sandwich. Well, what they did was, this was Pauline's doing, thank you, Pauline. She drew me a little picture of a ham sandwich and assumed that, that would have to hold me over until we can go into the store and eat at the little diner cafe part again, their deli counter. But it was very nice. Bard's Alley, my local bookstore. Caffe Amouri, my local coffee brewer. The only thing missing is my laptop. I would sit down at the counter with my laptop, my cup of Caffe Amouri coffee, my ham sandwich from Bard's Alley, and I would write or edit. At least 2 of my last Whiz Tanner books were done quite a bit sitting at that counter, just plugging away at the computer. I didn't talk a lot. I was writing. And that's it. Have my coffee, have my ham sandwich. My mouth is watering just looking at that. That's good. But someday I'll get to go back to Bard's Alley and I won't have to go through this process to make my own. Thank you very much. Enjoy your ham sandwiches. Enjoy your coffee. Till next time. I'll finish with a special thanks to Bard's Alley for being a wonderful place to peruse books, to Caffe Amouri, the best coffee in Vienna, to Sam and Eddie's Books in Yellow Springs, Ohio, and a special shout out to bookshop.org. Support your local bookstore while having the convenience of online ordering. And go to any of these websites to find out more about what I've been doing. Thanks.